Hey everybody, welcome back here to A Place to Heal. I promised you guys that I was going to have a guest on today's show. His name is Ken Patterson. He's a life coach, a great friend, love him to death. I think you guys are going to love him too. Before we get started, I just want to put a few things out there, okay? I'm not Oprah and he's not Phil Donahue. And when you have two people who are as passionate about what they love to do as Ken is and as I am, you have a tendency during interviews to start talking louder and getting excited, and you start literally like plowing over each other because you both have so much that you want to add to the conversation. I know that's happened in prior videos. I've gotten some real nasty comments about I couldn't hear what he was saying because you kept talking over him, or I had another video where it was like, oh, he was really rude, he didn't let you talk. And so please keep in mind that this stuff does happen. Even in regular conversations, we try to be as respectful as we can to each other, but like I said, I'm not Oprah and he's not Phil, and we're just trying to do the best that we can. And this is actually not an interview. We are just going to, how do I want to put this? We're just going to have a friendly conversation and see if what comes up will help you guys. We decided that we were going to do this completely raw. I love doing that. We're going to do this completely raw and uncensored, and see what happens. See what comes up that people need to hear. So, without further ado, please grab yourself something to drink, cross your fingers, and get prepared to laugh and cry and everything else. And let me see if I can figure out how to use this phone, because I haven't had it. Oh my gosh, it's already starting. Haven't had it too long, and oh my gosh. Okay, hang on. See if I can find his number here. Yep, bear with me. There we go. Contacts. Mr. Ken Patterson. Let's give him a call. I just got back from the gym and I just finished eating, so pardon me. Hopefully the phone picks up pretty good.
Hello.
Yeah, Ken?
Yes.
Hey, it's Marie.
Hi, Marie.
How are you?
I'm good.
Trying to figure out where the speaker is on this phone. Okay, so you're live on Facebook. I mean, not on Facebook, on YouTube. I wish I was live on Facebook. Anyway, I've told, all my followers that stuff like this happens. You kind of get nervous. And when two people are very passionate about something they love, they kind of plow over each other and your voices get louder and, you get that excitement going, right? So
Right.
I guess what I want to start out with is I want you to tell my audience, I'm going to make sure this camera's running because I don't want to do this interview and this talk and then find out it's not running. I basically want you to tell my audience what it is that you do.
Well, it's really interesting that you asked me that, because I was answering that same question to my wife, because she's working on my Facebook page as we speak, because I wanted to make sure that if anybody reached out to me that I had some better stuff on Facebook, because I have to admit, I make a little admitting here that I am not the greatest Facebooker on the planet, as far as I just don't do Facebook very much, but I'm learning, because it's a way for people to reach out. So here's the thing, to answer that question is, I really help people to really see who they really are through processes, and help them to design a life they love and want to live through, strategies and things, and really looking and uncovering and discovering what is holding them, different barriers and things that are blocking them, resistance and that, to who they really are, and the kind of life that they just kind of dream about, that we all want. So
Right,
that's kind
because
of in a nutshell.
I know with detoxification, especially me, like when I was detoxing and stuff like that, I had a bunch of stuff come up, and it was the detox for me a lot of times was actually more mental than it was physical. Like the pain was more mental, you know, things that came up out of my past, and people that I had wronged, and, kind of like along the AA thing. And, and all that stuff. And it was so hard for me. And, I wish at that point I would have had someone that I could talk to and reach out to and say, what do I do with these feelings? What do I do with these emotions? What do I do with all this crying? Or lack of sleep or whatever it was, because all that stuff happens to come up. And that's basically the area where you take over, right? You help people to deal with that kind of stuff.
Well, and really, I'm coming from a perspective that, we can all, what I tell people, tap the finger of God, so to speak. We can all touch that ether, that place of they call it like the zero field, or in this place that is infinite intelligence. We all have that ability within us
Agreed.
to do that. And so my thing is, I don't give advice. I mean, I will make suggestions, but I always ask permission, because the truth of it is that, let's say I told you or somebody else, okay, do this, do whatever, is that then if it doesn't work out, then they're mad at me, and the thing is that, because I am not going to have the best answer for your life. You,
right,
if you tap into that place, will have the best answers for you, because I don't have a crystal ball. And by the way, if anybody's got one, I'd like to borrow it, but it better not have a crack in it. Okay, so, because I got some lottery stuff that I'd like to.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
For,
right. Well, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, because one of my pet peeves is like all these gurus that are on, Facebook and Instagram and all these other places, and everybody's like following them. Give me advice. We are not here for that. We are here to we're the map, right? We give you the direction in which you should go, and then we kind of send you on our way. We're like the little mommy bird, right? It's like, okay, fly now. We give you some direction. This is how you, flap your wings, and there you go. But people want you to fly for them.
Yeah.
And they have this thing where they feel like they need someone constantly telling them, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Right? And that's not it.
But that's a trust issue in the person's self, because we're so used to thinking about what everybody thinks about us. We're so used to even now, especially with social media, like you and I talked before,
right,
is that there's all this, what does everybody think of me? Well, what do you think of yourself?
Right.
For Pete's sake, well, how do you feel about you? Mm-hmm. Are you waiting for people to approve of you?
Right.
I mean, that's kind of like high school 101, isn't it, really? It's like, at the end of the day, what do you feel about you? And are you happy with you? And if you're not, there's ways to change that. There's things that you can do. It's so funny. We used to have a cafe years ago. We ran 2 cafes over the course of 7 years. And one of the things that was so interesting to me, people would come in and they wanted you to tell them what to eat almost. It's like, right, they'd come in and they'd look at me. It's early in the morning. They're like, well, I don't know what to get. You pick. It's like, right, well, it's like you tell me what I should want. I'm like, so we would give them suggestions.
Right.
But it's like, really? It's like, come on. But I think that's such an epidemic, is that somebody just wants to tell them how to feel, how to live their life, what's important, what kind of shoes should I wear, what kind of pants are right, what kind of shoes.
Well,
it's like, come on,
I
really?
think that's why Facebook became so popular in the first place. Because you get all these, you notice that they don't have a dislike button. It's all like, right? Like, love. It's because they want to encourage, oh, I like you. Oh, you're accepted. Oh, I see you. Oh, I see what you did. And it's getting to the point where people won't even do it unless they can post it on social media, because if they didn't post it, it didn't really happen. And I'm thinking, this is craziness. Because you and me, we've talked about social media, and we don't call it Facebook. We call it fake book. Because
Right.
I have family, I have friends, and I look through their Facebook, and I'm like, who are these people? 'Cause I don't know these people. I mean, the stuff they're posting on there. And now you have, you have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have Snapchat, you have Musical.ly, you have Twitter, you have all this social media because people want to be acknowledged, people want to be accepted, people want to be loved.
Connection. It's connection.
But Ken, what the hell? You go to the supermarket and you look at somebody and they instantly look, they don't want eye contact with you.
I got this little tiny story. So we're in California. I think we were in California and we were on a vacation.
Mm-hmm.
We were coming back from Anaheim. We went to Disneyland, and yes, Disneyland's so wonderful.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we were leaving, and we go to the grocery store, and there's like a gazillion people, in this grocery store.
Right.
And so,
A gazillion?
so we're putting stuff in the bag, and there's like somebody like literally like right there, like 12 inches away from my forehead. Okay, putting their groceries in their bag on their side.
Right.
And I thought it was so funny. Everybody and their brother are doing that, and nobody's making any eye contact. It's like they're looking away, and I'm like. I started talking to people. I can't help it. It's like, dude, you're like 12 inches away from me. I'm going to talk to you. Sorry. Because, first of all, I love people anyway. You know that. We've talked about that a lot. And so I was just like, you got to be kidding me. We're this close and we're not going to talk?
I know.
I don't sit that close to people while I'm at the dinner table.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
you
oh
sit
my
too
God.
close to someone and they nudge away. It's like, nope, you're getting too. And I don't know where you live and your perspective on this, but like I'll be at the supermarket and there'll just be a guy behind me, and I'll just he's like, oh, that's a cute little girl, and I go, oh, thank you, and I've had her since she was 3 and blah blah, and the next thing you know, he's like, oh, she's trying to hit on me. I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to be nice. If you talk to women, they kind of just look at you like, are you crazy? And it's like, no, all this social media where people want to be loved and accepted and everything else. But when it comes to being in person, we've lost that contact anymore.
It's harder. But I will say this, okay, and here's something, and here's might be even a tip about this situation if you're open for that.
Sure.
Is when you're out and about, is that it's instead of going with this whole belief that everybody doesn't want to connect. See, I see the opposite now,
right?
Because I put the opposite out there,
right?
In the sense that I know that stuff exists. Okay, I get it. I watch other people the way they mingle and talk and whatever. But I'll end up. In fact, my kids. They don't like going to the store with me because they're like, Dad, you just talk to everybody.
I'll talk to the mayonnaise if it talks back.
But I have such a good time.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'll meet somebody and it's like instant friends because that's what I'm putting out there too.
Right.
So I connect with a lot of people and I always find common ground and stuff like that because I've made it a practice that the more you can learn ways of connecting.
Right.
Then that's going to always serve you is to be connected because I'm always putting it out there. So I'm looking for the best in people, not the worst, even though I know that stuff exists and everything, and people can be very jaded and they don't want to talk and don't talk about certain things and all this other stuff. So so that'd be the only thing I would say to that is if you want to have a better experience at the grocery store, put it out there that you're going to meet somebody really cool,
I am so glad that you brought that up because recently we had a conversation and I want you to tell my viewers about it because it really kind of like gave me that aha moment, and like the light bulbs, it was like ding, ding, ding. It was about the orange cone, right? And I want you to tell that story because let me tell you, this past week, I've noticed a few orange cones in my life. And not one, not two, maybe 3 orange cones. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Wow, it is really, it's like, I can't look at the orange cone. It's almost like, the naked man on the railroad tracks getting hit by the train. It's like a train wreck. You want to look. But I want you to tell my viewers, what that whole orange cone thing is, because I know there's people out here that are probably going through the same thing I am, and they need to hear that orange cone story.
Well, I will absolutely do that. But before I do that, there's something I wanted to do. In fact, because I thought you were going to call me on my office phone, because sometimes with
I didn't call you on your office phone.
That's okay. This is my cell phone, which is perfectly fine. You got the bat phone, and if you're old enough to know what that means, then so that totally dates me. But anyway, I just wanted to thank you, and I wanted to just thank the people that are going to be watching this stuff. I feel so honored and so privileged to be able to be on this channel with you, or however you're calling that, your show or whatever.
Right.
And I just wanted to say that, and I think the people it's so cool to connect with somebody that has made so many connections. I mean, because you have a lot of followers, and I thought that was really cool. And for me to come into that world, I just want to say, hey, I really super appreciate that, and have much gratitude for that.
Yeah, welcome to my reality.
That's what I wanted to say in the beginning. But when you called me, I'm like, oh, is she calling me? Beforehand to say, by the way, I'm going to call you on your other phone. That's what you were doing. So anyway, but to answer your question is, so there's this way that, like, let's say you wanted to be a NASCAR driver, or you just want to be able to drive a car faster. So they got these different schools, and when I learned this, actually, I was watching Canada's Worst Drivers. Okay, so that's how it first happened. I was watching this show, and I thought, well, I wonder if this is cheesy. So I tuned in, and no, literally, these people are like documented the worst drivers on the planet. Okay, they're freaked out. They get in wrecks all the time. They're eating full meals and stuff, and trying to drive, and putting their makeup on, and all this crazy stuff. And they're horrible. Well, one of the things that they did was they took these people on different kinds of courses, right? Mm-hmm. And they would say, okay, you see that person, and have these giant people, and then there was these orange cones, and they're like, don't touch the people, don't hit the people, don't hit the orange cones. Well, guess what? The first thing that they do is they'd smash into those giant figures that were styrofoam of people, and they would hit the orange cone every time. Because here's the truth, okay? Whatever you're focused on, you're going to come upon. Whatever you got your attention, towards, you're going to go right towards that thing. It's just the way that it is, and physically too. Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of
you're going to gravitate towards that.
What's that?
You're going to gravitate towards that.
You can't help it, and it's by law too. So whatever you focus on will expand. Period. It will expand. It will propagate.
Well,
the rich
it's like you never noticed how many Volkswagen bugs are out there, but then all of a sudden I'll sit there and go, Ken, have you noticed how many Volkswagen rabbits there are on the street? And then the next thing you know, everyone is driving a Volkswagen Rabbit.
Absolutely.
Because that's where you focus. It's your orange cone.
Articulator activating system, right? That's the part of the brain.
You just bought it into reality.
Looking. Absolutely. Right. And it's connecting with what you're connecting with, or what you're putting your attention on.
Right.
And so here's the deal, even some more background about the whole cone thing. So here's the thing, is that what they would say to them, they would say, look, you got to look where you want to go. See, and this is such a beautiful analogy.
Right.
Because it works so well, is you have to look at what you want, not what you don't want. Because if you do that, that's it. That right there, just that in a nutshell can change your whole life.
Right.
It's just by going,
it's changed my whole week.
At what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so one of the things that happened, I'm listening to Tony Robbins, and he's talking about this. He took this race car course, right? And the guy said, okay, you see the orange cone? Don't hit the orange cone. Guess what he did? Smacked into that orange cone every single time, until finally the guy's like, okay, we're going to do this a little bit different. He said, I want you to look for where you want to go. And Tony's like, okay, but I gotta not hit the orange cone. He's like, yeah, but you first want to look where you want to go. Well, he's still, even though he's coaching him, he's like smacking into the orange cone. So the next time, here's what he did. He literally physically took Tony's head, which, Tony's a big guy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He forced his head to look where he wanted to go, physically took his head and moved it to the direction he wanted to go. Guess what? He didn't hit the cone.
Right.
So the point is that, man, is that not a good way of looking at life?
Well, yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of people that you don't want, maybe, friends, lovers, family, whatever, that you don't want in your life, or a situation, a job, whatever, that you do not want in your life, a court date, whatever the case may be. But you sit there and that is your orange cone. You sit there and you're constantly going, oh, I don't want to be with that person. Oh, I don't want that person coming to my house anymore. Oh, I don't. And you don't realize you're focusing on that orange cone. So you're going to keep hitting it, right? So you want to, where do you want to go?
I don't want to interrupt you, sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like the focus, where do you want to go? Don't focus on that.
Yes. And what I was going to add to that, just to piggyback off what you were saying, is that I even take it a step further. What you focus on, really, that thing actually wants to populate. Everything after its own kind. Oh, I don't care if you're talking about a roach, a duck, a dog, a person, a tree. Name something that doesn't want to share more of what it is, whatever it is. Right. You got, people that want to hate, right? Well, that's where they are. So they're going to share that, and they want to propagate. I guarantee you, they want to populate the earth with that feeling. And have we not all been around somebody where, man, they're literally practically throwing up on you with their problems and issues and whatever. And it's because that's a natural thing to share wherever you are. Whatever's going on, you want to share it. So if you're hating on people, you want to share that. So there's this populating thing. Right. He and she make three kind of thing. Is that we make babies out of that stuff. And literally everything, I don't care if it's a tree, that thing, at one point when it's mature enough, it's going to want to give seed to whatever it is. Right?
Yeah. Right.
So
you plant everything.
Too, is that whatever you're focusing on, not only does it get bigger, but then that thing can populate.
Right, because I have a lot of friends that are, they're dead ass broke. That's a nice way to put it. And, they'll sit there, but that's all I ever hear from them is, I'm so broke. I'm still broke. Every time I check my bank account, I only have $5. And I'm like, oh, guess what you're saying? So it does populate that. So it's like, oh, you want to be broke? Well, let me give you some more broke, and let me give you some more broke, and that's them focusing on that orange cone, right? The brokenness.
Absolutely. And
right?
I think really sometimes you literally have to force your head or to change the channels, I call it. Sometimes you just got to get off of that, rap and music or whatever. And I'm not knocking all rap stuff. There's a few that I like, but I would probably say that's one of the ones, or heavy metal, that I really don't care for.
Right.
Is that if you don't like that, it's funny though, people will be listening to that and go, doesn't that sound bad? Boy, I really hate that. Well, it's still playing, and they're still griping about it. It's like, change the channel.
Change the channel.
Turn the radio off.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
God, I hate that TV in the background. It drives me nuts. Well, turn the damn TV off.
Exactly. If you hate it that much, then, turn it off.
I was told by another life coach one time, it was like, I was in a kind of a bad situation, and he told me, it's like, look, you have one or two choices. He goes, in life, you always have the three choices, right? You can stay in the situation, and you got to learn to love it. Or number two, you can leave the situation. He goes, but you cannot do number three. He goes, and number three is the one everybody picks. They choose to stay in the situation and and want to bitch about it. He says number three is not an option. He goes, and that's the option that most people will pick, is that option for some reason. Who knows why?
Well, it's easier, but it's familiar.
Familiar.
We're living based on past. We're so hardwired for that. I could literally do a whole seminar just on that alone. That we literally are hardwired to live in the past. And here's the thing, and you may even remember this in high school or in school somewhere, where they taught you that literally you're looking at the world upside down and backwards. That's the way your brain first takes it in. You have to turn it right ways the other way.
Right.
And we're so hardwired to look at the past because that's the data.
Yeah.
You got when you were
the only thing to go by.
7 years of age.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that was because of safety. You know, that was to keep you safe.
Right,
you know, because we're born, I call it the 5 to stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
You're born with 2 fears, not 20, not 30, 2 fears. The fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. That's the 2 you're born with.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're born with 3 other instincts: fight, flight, or free.
Yeah.
So those are the 5 to stay alive, okay? And that's what, believe it or not, most people are running on autopilot using those things. That's the truth.
Yeah, because your personality, a lot of people go, oh, that's my personality. Well, that's my personality. No, that is not your personality. You adapted that personality in order to stay safe. So everything that you do, everything that is your personality, you adapted that personality because it keeps you safe.
Yeah.
So you have to start realizing, why do I do that? Why do I do that? When did this start?
Questions. It's like, what, you know, what's going on that I'm not caring for? Because here's the truth: contrast is a gift. I believe it's a gift from God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's no question that if you know what you don't want, you hate, you want to obliterate,
right.
Okay, then you can figure out what you do want, that you love and want more of.
Right.
You can totally make that shift.
Yeah.
And that's why it's a gift, because without contrast, how would you know?
Right.
How would you know? If you live in a house that has hardly no closets, here's just a really simple example.
Right.
If you live in a house that practically has no closet, then you go, you know what? Next time we move, we're getting into a house or an apartment that's got more closets. Well, you knew that based on what you didn't like. That's the truth.
Right. And you know, one of the things that I learned recently is, you know, people will sit there like, to, you know, like you said, piggyback on that. People will go, oh, I'm going to move into a house with more closets. And then they move into a house with more closets, but it doesn't have a garage. And then they sit there and go, well, gee, I really want a house with a garage. Well, sell the damn house and go get one with more closets and more garage. And then you're going to find something wrong with that. And because life is not stagnant. People want to make it stagnant. Creatures of habit, right? We want to stay in the same place, blah, 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 blah. But something that was very profound for me was that there is no finish line. There is never a finish line, ever. So you always keep changing, always keep evolving, and that's what keeps us alive longer. The minute you settle in somewhere and become stagnant, that's when death starts creeping in. And I've noticed that over and over.
Yeah. Well, and you know this super well is that if you just like strapped your arm to your body and you did that for a while, the thing that would happen is your body is so efficient, and so is the universe, and so is your brain and everything else connected. Is if you did that, you know what's going to happen. Eventually, that arm is going to atrophy, and your body's going to go, well, it's almost like having a warehouse with we never use that room in the back. We're shutting all the lights off, plus all the plumbing and everything else. That's what it's going to do because it's not efficient.
Yeah.
And so either you're going to use it or you will lose it. Well, that's just the truth.
Right, because I have a lot of people that contact me for like detoxification, and they're like, well, what pill should I use? What this should I use? What that should I use? And I'm like, the first thing you need to do is get your body moving. That's number one, because honestly, Ken, my healing did not fully come into play until I started. And I know you like to work out too and all that stuff. But, if you don't move your body, it's like everything's stagnant.
Yeah.
And literally, like you said, you start to atrophy. And then I'm even going to go as far as if you keep that arm next to your body long enough, actually that skin will like stick to the arm. And you're going to get to a point where you're not going to be able to move that arm at all.
Exactly.
And so nothing's moving.
Well, and it's also, it's all of that because, we're body, mind, spirit. Obviously that's a simple version.
Right.
But the point is that that's so true. And if you don't understand that, then really, and at the end of the day, that's the thing. It's becoming aware. It's really waking up and discovering who you really are and asking those hard, 25
of yourself.
million questions of yourself.
Not other people.
Absolutely, because the answers lie within it. It doesn't mean that we don't need messengers. We do. You're a messenger. I'm a messenger. You're bringing light to dark places within people and the world in general. And so am I. And so that's so important, is to realize that yes, we do need messengers. But I'll tell you, the one that's got the best, message is the one that lies within you. And as a coach, that's totally what I'm doing. Is I'm guiding you back to you. That's all I'm doing. I'm giving you perspective, because it's really hard to see all the facets. Kind of like a diamond. I used to work.
Okay, and on that note, I want to hit on something that happened the other day, because you and me, a lot of people are talking about texting. You see everybody texting. And I swear to God, Ken, that is like my pet peeve, is texting. I do not text people that I love. I do not text good friends. All my friends know I call you. And this texting to me, I was just talking to you the other day, right? And I know you're going to know what I was talking about. But we were talking about, why I started my YouTube channel and all that. And all of a sudden I said something and I'm like, did you just realize what you just said? And I was like, yeah, don't think for 1 minute I didn't realize what I just said. And it was like, all these light bulbs suddenly came on, but you don't get that texting.
Yeah.
You have to talk to someone in order to get those answers to surface sometimes. And they just surface unexpectedly.
Absolutely, and I want to just slide this in, and that is to say, really, there is no substitution that can ever be made. I don't care, holograms, you name it, whatever, for human contact. The phone is secondary, but it's, you can at least hear the tonality of somebody's voice. You can hear the fluctuation. You can hear, and I get this all the time, I can tell when a person's down. I mean, that stuff. Even your dog can tell when you're down or when you're mad or whatever, because they're so much more acute to their senses.
Right.
Because they speak in so many languages. But see, we think it all has to come out of the mouth, but that's not. There's so much
body language.
Like 70 to 80% of language is all coming through the body.
Right.
I mean, so really, it's also too, even the feelings that you're sending out there. I mean, have you ever walked into a room and you walk right back out because you can cut the tension with a knife and nobody said a word to you? Nobody said anything. They might even have been just standing there, but you can tell.
Right.
That's just the truth. So you can't substitute that by texting. You can't substitute that by Facebook. You can't substitute that by some other form that's a mechanical thing. And I'm not knocking that stuff. I use texting too, so do you. But I don't use it to get across deep, heartfelt things. It's going to be more surface because it has no choice.
Very surface,
but to be more surface. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to meet at 3? Yeah, that's surface. I don't think this relationship is working out. Is not a texting, people.
Let me break up with you on a text. Whoa, would that be brutal?
That's about the moment you go, wow, did I make the wrong choice there?
No doubt. No, I'm with you. And here's the thing, it has its place. And it's just like, I'm sure on some level you would say, doctors have their place in every modality.
Yeah, everything has their place, right.
Yeah, so it's all good, but we cannot substitute. And this is the thing. What's happened in our world is that more and more that people are using those ways, and they're getting away from being in front of somebody and making eye contact. And really looking into somebody's eyes, which is so powerful.
Right.
You and I have talked about that before. And here's a tip, and if it's okay if I share.
Yes, definitely the eye thing. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So here's the thing, and I have to admit that I wanted to go back and check and make sure, but there is something to totally be said that if you are in a room with somebody and you're talking with somebody, and it's to look at one eye, not both eyes. See, most of the time, we're going kind of back and forth. You know what I'm saying? We're going from one eye to the other, back and forth.
Or down to their lips, down to their nose, down at their chest.
Exactly. So the thing to do, and obviously you don't want to just like stare at them, because that's not great.
Right.
You know, because we as a society, we understand that staring is not great, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of creepy.
But the thing is, if you're going to look at them, is find one eye. And I think it's the right eye, actually.
Pick an eye, pick an eye.
Pick an eye, and I think it's the right one. And even if anybody wanted to, they can look that up for themselves. That there's an eye that actually even is better. But that's the window to the soul. And if you do that, people will go, man, I feel like I know that person. You know, but why?
Yeah.
Because you've connected
Like
with
I've
them.
known you forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my favorite is always to watch the feet. Because when people are really into you and really into the conversation, I do this at the gym, right? When I'm talking to someone, I always look at their feet. Because if somebody is wanting to talk to you, their feet will always face you. But if they don't want to talk to you, or you've offended them in any way, or they're feeling uncomfortable, their feet will actually face towards the door. Because they want to, towards the exit, because they want to leave, right? They feel uncomfortable in that conversation.
Yeah.
So, hey, with those two things, you can never go wrong.
That means they're going to run, right? That's the other part of that.
Yeah, get out of the way. Yeah, so, I mean, so there's like so much stuff that is going on right now, and there's so many people that are so lonely, you know, and, you know, like we've said this 100 times, you know, you go on Facebook and these people will tell you, I have 5,000 friends. Like, no, you don't.
You don't have you have 5,000 acquaintances.
Right, because at the end of the day, you're still lonely.
Yeah.
So what's going on there?
And here's the truth, and my wife is a great example. She's got a ton of family and everything, and it is a way, okay, because I'm not knocking Facebook. I'm just saying that you have to understand it, you know, for what it is to me. And like with her, she's got, you know, quite a few, although she tiered them way down. But because she has such a humongous family, and so that's one way that she can connect. But but I'm here to tell you, and you know this, is that, you know, she had some time with those people physically.
Right.
So that does change it a little bit. And the other thing is that I don't. If you really think you have 500 friends, I got a newsflash. It's impossible. You'd have to live 5 lifetimes to have 500 friends.
Right.
Because you ain't got enough time to do what it takes to have a wholesome, healthy, worked on, work upon type of relationship. You just can't do it.
No.
There's not enough time. And that's why the millennials, as they say, they don't even my daughter told me. She's like, Dad, you know what? She realizes that at a swipe, you just can swipe your friends. You just boom, you're done, whatever.
What?
And so you put on there, you put this persona, oh, look at me, here I'm sexy and I'm all this stuff. And I'm not saying you're not those things.
Right.
But a lot of times people are like, they're just faking it.
Yeah.
Because they think that somehow, well, now I'm going to get a whole bunch of friends and I'm going to feel good. And so then you got like, what is that? Like you get dopamine and stuff, and you get chemicals in your body that go, wow, check it out. You know, 14 people liked me today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. They liked what you said, and do they really know you? And here's an example of that. Is that there's a guy that walks past my house. He's got a little white dog. He walks past my house. Now, if somebody asked me, Ken, do you know that guy? I might, on a knee-jerk reaction, say, yeah, I know that guy. Mm-hmm. But wait a minute. Wait for just a second. Do I know that guy? I know he walks past my house. I think I know maybe where he parks his car, I think. But that's the thing. And even if you go deeper, let's say I talk to him one day, okay? Or maybe 2 days.
Yeah.
So I get to know him a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Even still, do you know, do people listening realize that even when you live with somebody,
yes,
there are layers that you don't know about that person. So that's the thing, that's the issue with insta friendship, okay, which is like poof, you just push a button, you got friends, is that doesn't take, how much work does that take? There's no talking with them, there's no spending time getting to know them, and then what if you start hearing some things you don't like? Well, then you're going to make a choice. Well, is that too much for me? Whatever, because here's the truth. The people that you really care about, you know who they are and you like them anyway. Isn't there some truth in that?
Yes.
Is that you know some good, bad, and ugly things. So, and that's okay because we all have imperfections. So the truth of it, you know, perfection is an illusion anyway.
Yes.
And we're perfect in a spiritual sense. I believe that. Okay? But we don't do always perfect things. That's the issue.
Yeah.
And so, but what people do, they judge people based on what they do,
You know,
not who they are.
and that's really funny that you should bring that up, because just yesterday I was watching an interview with a man who, he said he lived next door to this guy for a year. And they would barbecue out in the backyard together, and you know, he would see him every day, like you said, go by his house, and they would sit out front and BS and stuff. And the guy was always, you know, he goes, you never looked his way, because you know, he was kind of boring, and you know. And he goes, but every once in a while on a Sunday we would barbecue, you know, and shoot the bull and whatever, and then I'd just go home. And he says one day he's walking home from work, and this guy, he hears a girl screaming, and he goes over there, and he tries to open the door, but he can't. And the girl is like, call 911, call 911. You know, this guy's had me hostage here for years. And by the time the police came, got this girl out, this girl's like, oh no, there's other girls in the house too. And he's like, I'm sitting out here dumbfounded as they're pulling one girl after another girl out of this house. There must have been like 30 to 35 young girls in that house. And this is a man that I used to barbecue every day with on Sundays.
Right.
And he did not know him at all. So
Well, see, here's my
you
question.
can't tell me you know people on Facebook or Instagram.
Exactly. And here's the thing is that I know on some level you're not sharing that, so people will be freaked out about all their neighbors.
Right.
But it does show that we really don't know somebody. My first question about that guy is, what would cause him to act that way? What would be the reason? Because that's the thing, is there's always, the reason people act out and they do things and they have habits and all that stuff is there's a thing behind the thing. There's a sponsoring thought that started all that stuff. Right. And where he felt like he had to hold them hostage or whatever else, you know what I'm saying? And because if you don't get to the root of the thing, you know, by punishment and all the stuff you don't get there, right. You literally have to get, you know, why would a person do that? Why would a person take somebody's life? Why would they do that?
Well, I think life is a question, right? I mean, everything, it should be posed instead of, I can't believe that happened to me. It should be, why did that happen to me? Like,
why am I craving that?
Right. Why am I craving that? Right. Because it's not, there's always something. Like I have a girlfriend, and she's always, every time her car breaks down, she sits there, she goes, why does this always happen to me? Why is this? My battery went out, and then this went out. And I'm like, you know, the better question is, why does this keep happening to me? And if she were to analyze that, like I've already analyzed it for her, so she's good. But if she were to analyze that, she'd realize that she does not take 5 seconds to maintenance her car ever. I think the last time she gave her car an oil change was like maybe 3 years ago. But then she's always, every time her car breaks down, she's like, why did this happen? Why does this always happen to me? Question,
well, you have to do
right?
You have to do the why that's not a false bottom why.
Right.
You have to ask the questions like, well, why in the hell did this happen? You know,
but Ken, that is so much work for people.
Why, where you're really asking it to yourself and go, geez, I wonder, you know, it's like this question that's got an open end. You're not already convinced.
I know, Ken, but now you're asking people to do a whole lot of work that they don't want to do, because people are lazy. They want everything done for them. They don't want to think that way. Most people are asleep. You know, I mean, one of my favorite things is, you know, I woke up to find out that the rest of the world was asleep. And I love it when I come across people like you, or, you know, I have a few friends, very close friends that I come across that are so awake. And that's just so beautiful. Because, like, I like to focus on the awake ones.
I like it better than when I'm awake, I will tell you that. But and here's the thing, I will say the reason, okay, this to me, this is like a symbol to me that can really explain, you know, what's going on behind the scenes. Look at all the zombie movies, okay? Here's an example.
Yes.
Look at all the zombie movies that are just so, I mean, and they're like blockbusters. I mean, people are like showing up in the droves. And here's the thing, you know why that is? I believe is that is a symbol.
It is. I so agree.
And people are walking around dead and don't even know it.
What are we going to do if the zombie eclipse happens? I'm like, I hate to tell you, but it's already here. Yeah. I'm driving through the Target parking lot, and there's some kid on his cell phone texting, and he rams into a pole. Yes, it is already here.
And here's the other one, okay?
Yeah.
What's the fastest growing crime on the planet? Do you know what that is?
No.
Identity theft.
Oh.
So
I can buy that.
Here's the symbol, right? Here's the analogy. Here's the metaphor. Is that people don't know who they are. They don't know where they came from. Okay?
Yeah.
It's really easy to take somebody's identity when you don't know who you are, yes?
Yes. Yeah.
So is that not a thing? And so here's this fastest growing thing, and it's no wonder. People don't know where they came from. They don't know who they are. Super easy to take that guy's identity.
Yeah, they don't know anything about themselves. They don't know themselves at all.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think that's by any strange thing. Those two things are these big, gigantic things. I remember back in the day when, I think it was the Day of the Dawn or the whatever.
Yes. The Night of the Living Dead.
Whatever it was. Yeah, the Night of the Living Dead. That was like this, like A or D film.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so, but now those are blockbusters.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's no small reason why.
The Walking Dead.
Show us, okay, this is where people
vampire movies.
They don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so, see, this is the thing, and I believe the people that are listening, that's not them.
No.
And even if they feel like that at times, the reason they're tuning in, the reason they want to listen to you is because they want to heal. They do.
Yeah.
They want to do that. They're just ready for a breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
They're ready to help to bust through the gates and say, you know what, this is who I am.
Yeah.
This is who I am,
Right. Yeah. And I want to be awake. I want to be healthy. I want to be present. I want to be here for my family. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Okay, so I know that you and me, we can talk for like 5 hours. I already know.
It's true.
But, so, I think we've been going 45 minutes. I'm going to kind of wrap it up here. But before I leave, I want to say, I want to thank you so much for coming on here and talking to my viewers. I know, taking time out of your day, I appreciate you so much. I will be adding the links to his Facebook if you want to connect with him and follow him, please. I will be putting it underneath this video. But before I leave, throw them some pearls of wisdom. Just something that you feel that they should know today. That you feel like somewhere that you feel inside that somebody needs to hear something. Go.
I would say that the most important thing, and I really believe that's why I'm here on the planet, is to help people see how amazing, how phenomenal, how incredibly talented in all the things that are laying dormant with all the people that are listening. That there is so much there in your little pinky. Okay, you have this ability to just be absolutely so many things to yourself and to the world and to the people that love you. There is so much there. Do yourself and the world, oh, by the way,
the world,
such a favor is to really take that journey, which is it's the hardest one, but it's the most beautiful and magical one.
Yeah.
Is to be you and to start really learning how to love you.
Yeah.
All the way, non-conditional. Not when you lose the weight, not when you get the job, none of that. But that you start loving yourself now, today.
Yeah. I love to say, stop being small.
Yeah.
Stop. Check everything in your life that you are doing to stay small, and stop doing those things, and get rid of them, and start being big. I am loud, I am obnoxious, I am crazy, and I go to the supermarket and my grandkids are like, Grandma, I go, I don't care. This is me in all my glory. Accept me as I am. Because this is me.
Yeah.
And if I was anybody else but me, I would be depriving the world of that. And that's the reason that we're here, is to share our gifts and our talents and who we are. And I think people watch like the Kardashians, and I want to be like her. I want to be like her, and I want to be like her. Oh, I want to have a butt like her, and I want to have a face like her. And forget that. Have your own butt, your own face, your own identity, be your own Kardashian, instead of that. So.
Well, and modeling somebody can be a great thing, but at the end of the day, there's only one you. There's literally, you have a thumbprint.
You, everybody else is taken.
Nobody else. It's just like, and here's the other thing, and we'll leave with this because we can talk about this forever, but here's the thing, is that to know one thing, that when you show up,
yes,
when you are really just being
yes,
you, not a human doing, but a human being, and really being you,
human being,
the world will go, oh my God, we are so glad that you showed up, because we've been waiting for you.
Yes.
Yeah,
I agree. And the whole world will accept you. It's like, oh, thank God, we were so waiting for you to show up. This is so wonderful. All right, so Ken, I want to thank you again for being on here with me. And I'm going to ask my viewers, if you guys want more of this, if you would like to see Ken on the show again, please comment under this video and let us know. Because, like I said, we can talk for hours about anything that you guys want to hear. And his links will be underneath this video. Once it's done, you can check underneath there and you can click on it and connect with Ken. Okay, Ken, thank you once again. You have a beautiful, blessed day.
You gotta let me say thank you too.
Okay, say thank you. Go ahead.
It's like, well, I gotta be able to do that, man. I gotta do my gratitude gig, right?
Okay, go.
Because I am so thankful that you let me be on here, and that really shows me just how much of a open person you are for some crazy guy that lives in Southern Oregon. And I so thank you, and I absolutely am so honored by you allowing me to just connect with the people that you have in your group. I think that's so phenomenal. It's a dream for me. Believe it or not. Those
you're
are all,
so welcome. You are such a blessing.
Like that, I'm just like, oh, this is a dream for me. Thank you so much. So I just got to tell you, thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, I always tell my viewers, like, if get in contact with me, I'm actually a pretty easygoing person to get along with, and you did that, right? I mean, you did that, and you this girl's like full of BS. Then I called you. Because, I'm like open to that. I don't mind. I think everybody has gifts, and, you should share those gifts. And, how else are you going to share those gifts? I've been given a platform, a school to teach people something. I remember Oprah saying that she wanted to teach. And that was one of the things that when I first started my YouTube channel, I was like, wow, what's one of the biggest schools there is? The internet. So let me get on there. And it's no good if you're the only teacher, because there's other teachers that have such wonderful lessons to teach. And I do believe that you are a blessing, and you are one of those teachers. And I just loved having you on here today.
Can I get that like in stone?
Yeah.
Chisel that
Can I get that in writing so I can show people? All right. So everyone, thank you for joining us. And you can connect with Ken on Facebook. And please, till we see you again, stay happy and stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Love you guys. Hey, love it. Thank you.
Bye.